Welcome back, guys, to my channel. If you're here with me again, it means that you like privacy law issue and like explore privacy essentials together with me. I hope that you really missed my videos, and today I'm continuing recording the website reviews of different websites, of different mobile apps, and this time we will talk and we will speak about some kind of new website. I haven't explored it yet, but this is our task today, so stay tuned and we'll do it later today. Be sure to like this video and please watch it until the end, not to miss a very important moment which I will outline today. And this is really important for every business owner, every website owner, so not to repeat the same privacy fails which we will talk about today. Like this video and leave your comments to this video below. Let's begin, guys. So today we see some kind of website. I do not know the specifics of it yet, but we will explore it today and we will understand what this website is about, which privacy practices does it have, which pieces of data it collects, and we'll try also to guess for which purpose actually the company does this. So this is our task. And as the last step, we will also review and analyze the privacy policy of the company, because we'll need to compare the existing privacy practices with their actual practices described in the privacy policy. So let's start with scrolling the website and try to browsing different website menu to understand where we can find some pieces of information, some pieces of website forms where the company might collect personal data. And this is actually the first issue which we will start with. So here we see the first screen of the website, and the very first page I see the button Join Us. So let's try to press on it and understand what we'll see there. Okay, see, this is the first website form, and it collects pretty a lot of personal data, right? Because you see, here is the first name, we also see the last name, email address, phone number. So this is 4 pieces of information and all of them relate to personal data. Are you a brand or a retailer? This is another question that the company asks, but it doesn't relate to personal data, so we can omit this. And the company also wants to know from which country you are from, company name and job title. It actually might be, for example, job title might be that also refer to personal information, but if in collection with other pieces of information, that might help to identify the person. So actually, this is pretty extensive form with a lot of information that you need to fill in. So what we need to understand here that all of these pieces of data shall be clearly outlined within the privacy policy. So the company shall mention that it collects this data and for what purposes. So, and in this case, we can see that I suppose and I believe that the purpose of collection of this data in this case is to actually to contact you and to provide you some additional details about which you might contact the company, right? Because it's like a contact form. Other interesting issue which I want to pay attention here is this wording and this checkbox. Please pay attention to this because it's really important and really essential. You can see that the checkbox is already marked. So the user or the website visitor which will browse this form and will analyze it, he or she doesn't need to press this button actively of this checkbox, right? But this is the first and very big privacy fail. When you collect some pieces of personal information and you need the consent of users or website visitors about collecting this data, right? First issue that you need to do is to ensure that you provide a clear and informed checkbox or like any other pieces of check mark. It can be like presented on the website, right? And it shall be unmarked, unchecked, because it's important to give user the opportunity to agree to your website form, to agree to share the data with you or not. But you made it like by default, and this is a really big problem. This is we're totally in violation of, for example, GDPR. So we cannot say for sure at this stage whether or not the company collects the data from the European users, right? So whether it is or not the subject of the GDPR, it's not clear. as of now, but it's really a big mistake. Another issue, you can see that, for example, the users can review privacy policy before agreeing to, actually they do not have choice to agree because it's already marked, but anyway, they can review it because they can click on this button on the privacy policy, right? And you will be referred to the page with the privacy policy. So we will not do it right now, but we can leave it open because we will come back to this privacy policy analysis, right? And at the same time, as to the terms, I don't have the possibility to follow this link and to review it because there is nothing provided here. So I'm not sure why the company does this in this way. Maybe they do not have these terms placed on the website. I don't know, but we will not analyze the reason. Our task today is to present your all mistakes and give your insights on how you can do it in a correct way. So the first issue you need to pay attention here is that you need this checkbox unmarked, right? So the users, your website visitors, you need to actively check this box. Only in this way it will be made in a compliant way. So let's close this tab as for now with this website form. So we just explored the Join Us button. So, and we saw this here, the demo request window or the website form to request a demo. So let's move forward. Here we see the second screen, and it just briefly describes some pieces of functionality of this platform or some pieces of services that the company provides, I believe so. It doesn't have any buttons or any pieces of personal information where they can collect this data, so let's scroll down. Trusted by Fortune Global 500 companies. Again, just the names of different brands, of different clients of the companies. Maybe, I'm not sure, or I don't know what does it mean, but anyway, they don't have any information or any personal data that's related to our topic today, so let's move forward. The next gen solution, changing customer experience. Again, it's the description of the company, services of the company experience, as you may see, and we can also scroll down, discover endless options, content syndication, and another description of the services of the company, and we see again the button to book a demo. I suppose that it's the same form which we just saw before, but let's check it. Yeah, it's absolutely the same form, and we just analyze it, so we will close it just for now and move forward. Okay, scroll down and we see again the same button, book a demo. We will omit it. Another description. Wide network of integrated retailers. So this all partners or retailers of the company, and they just mentioned them here. They're just logos of different companies, do not have any content for us. So we can move forward. AI-based technologies to enhance the shopping experience. And we also see here the description of AI services of the company and I guess it's some functionality of the platform which company offers. But as for us, it doesn't present any interest because, as you might see, there are no forms or any other web pages or something like this where we might see that the company collects some data. Providing extraordinary shopping experiences, and again some kind of text about their services, about the description of the services, right? Some of our top clients, and again we see the logos of the companies, website owner which we speak today. I suppose that worked, collaborated in some way. Unique expertise and recent insights. Okay, and here we see the blog of the company with different categories like all media, blog, news we see here, and press information. So all these pieces of different articles or news. And let's check some articles to ensure that there are no forms where users can share some types of personal data or maybe some pieces of content, because sometimes website blogs, they do contain pieces of fields where users can share their comments and they can share some content. In this case, if we see some kind of this, we'll need to move back. If we see something like this, we will need to stop at this moment to analyze a bit more. But now let's explore these pieces of articles. So this is news. Okay, here you might see that users, website visitors can share this article, these materials on social media platforms. And we can see here Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and what else? Email, or we can just copy this material and just copy a link to this material. What does it mean? It means that users can log in to their social media account, right? So you can realize this like on this website, and it means that all these platforms, they places their cookies on this website. And when you do this, like if you want to share this material, you will need to be aware of these practices for sure, because it's like some tracking technologies which each of this company, like mentioned on this website, usually use in their just regular practices, and it's absolutely normal. But the most important issue here is that the company shall mention these practices within the privacy policy as well. And we will analyze this a bit later. Let's try to analyze this article further and see whether there are any other information that is related to our topic today. Okay, blog and other news. Right, so this is the article, link to original article, okay. And again, the possibility to share this article on social media. Right, unique, and again the same blog where you can read another articles or another pieces of news, right? So okay, let's close this. Let's see what we have. It's news, the same pieces of information, the same articles of the same nature, so we'll not stop here for a long time. Okay, let's see the next screen, and here we see that you can learn more about the products of the company or the products of this or the services of the company by pressing the button Learn More. So let's try this. Learn More, and here we see the same button to join us, and as we did it before, it was a link to request a demo. And right, it's the same link with the same pieces of form of their forms where you need to fill in your data. So we can close it. Actually, it's the same website, right? Just the beginning, the first screen of this website. So we can move back. What here? And at the end, I guess this is the last screen of the website, we can see the form where you need to fill in your personal data in order to contact the company. And as you might see on the screen, the pieces of personal data that you need to fill in are absolutely the same as we analyzed before. So the same form and the same checkbox, which is not compliant, as we have already decided with you. And we see the footer of the website, usually like the last one, right? So let's see, what do we have here? Again, we have here different tools. I suppose they're different tools of the company. You might see a 24 AI, 24 SIS, 24 WTD, and the short descriptions of every type of services which the company provides or products. And let's just check one of them to be sure that there is nothing special. Automated rich content syndication. So again, book a demo form, the same form, and the description of this product, right? Yeah, the same. Again, schedule a demo button, book a demo, the same button. Again, descriptions of different products, retailers which we saw, earlier today. Schedule a demo again. Dedicated client support team, right? Book a demo and the description of the team. Why brands choose us, some kind of reviews from clients, or maybe I'm not sure from whom this reviews. Okay, and again the clients, the brands, logos of the clients, unique expertise, again the same blog. And let's see the last page. Right, the same contact form. So actually the structure of these pages are pretty the same as like general one, as like the page that we just analyzed. So all these pieces of products or all these types of products, they will have the same buttons with the same piece of personal information. So we understand this. And what is next? Here they also see the locations of the company, and I see the address of the company and different phone numbers. Maybe there's like contact centers of the company. What is important here is that the company might collect telephone numbers from the users, from website visitors, in order to process their data for like contact support services, or just to reply to the inquiries of the clients or website visitors or from their users, to reply to their inquiries and to their questions. Because we saw that we also had here the form, the website form, but it doesn't have the pieces of form for collecting like telephone numbers. Oh no, sorry, that's my bad. Yeah, I see here the phone number is also required in this form, but anyway, users can contact the company by any of these phone numbers, I suppose, right, in different locations. And it means that they might also collect the recordings of their calls. So it depends. We cannot like make it clear as of now, just because we need to get some additional information from the company directly, right? We can just guess whether or not they do this, but like in general, but in different companies' practice, they might do this. And if they do, they also required to mention this within their privacy policy. The other interesting thing that I haven't found here is that there are no links to the terms of use or terms of service of the company, and there are also no link to the privacy policy of the company. But we saw the link to the privacy policy, which was embedded in contact form, right? And we even have it open here, so we will analyze it later. But there is no link to the privacy policy like on the footer of the website or in any other place of the website. This is also a privacy fail of the company, because another important issue required by most privacy legislation, like most privacy laws of the world, is that your privacy statement or your privacy policy shall be clearly visible for any website users which visit your website, which browse your website, and they need to have an opportunity to look for it in any time, to review it, to understand what data you collect, for what purposes, what is your sharing practices, or all issues which we'll talk about later today. So there is no this link. I don't see it right here. Only when you want to book a call, only when you want to request a demo, only then you can find this link to the privacy policy. And for the terms of use, there are no at all. But we will not analyze this one aspect about the terms. We will analyze all aspects related to the privacy policy particularly. So this is another big fail. The other aspect that I notice here is that you might see the cookie banner here, and I will try to, I'll not be able to do this right here. Okay. Okay. The issue is that I cannot press on this cookie banner in any way, just because it's impossible to do in this way, right? Here you see the panel with settings of your language, so you can choose the language you want to see the website in. So there's Spanish option and Korean option, and right now we see the English version of this website. So let's try to choose Spanish one. Right, you see, so actually the website version changed to the Spanish one, and interesting thing that the cookie banners stayed in English, right? Really interesting. And again, let's move back to English version. Let's just stop for a while right here, and I will explain you what does that mean for us in terms of privacy practices. So when you have the option to choose language settings, it means that you also places some cookies on your website. And usually this it will be performance cookies, right? Or functionality cookies. They help to remember the settings, the preferences of users when they choose some kind of language, some type of language that they actually need. So in other way, then later when users will come back, when they return to your website, the website will automatically be selected in the right language. So that is what cookies actually do. But this is only one aspect, right? Company claims, as you might see, that they use cookies, and they actually describe even the purposes for their use, like in order to personalize services and offers. It means that they actively use marketing cookies, and also for functionality reason, as I just already mentioned about language settings. So I'm sure that there are also other types of cookies which you might see and find here, and other tracking technologies, as all companies actually does. And we also saw third-party links. We also saw the possibilities to share the content on social media platforms, which also means that there are some types of tracking technologies used. So we will check this information in the privacy policy to ensure that the company actually describes all these purposes and all these types of cookies. So let's check again whether we covered all aspects of the website and whether we pressed on all buttons. Okay, and right here I see that there is also some points, like some menus for retailers, about us, media, contact us, and schedule a call. Let's begin with the schedule a call button because I've missed it. So I want to ensure that there is nothing special and nothing new. Okay, so the same website form, and we have already analyzed, so we will close it. We also have here contact us form, and you can see the map of the company. Maybe it's the, actually I guess it's the map of the company's location where they have contact support centers, right? Yeah, you might see all contact numbers by which you can contact the company. And join us. Okay, this form doesn't work because when I press on it, nothing happens. Okay, so media, let's check this one. And media, again, the blog, news, press, they have already been there, so let's move forward. About us. Right, the same description about the company services and their products. We also saw this description, and we saw this one, so let's not just waste our time here, and let's move back. Okay guys, so I guess that we can stop at this point right here, and now our time is to explore and analyze the privacy policy to ensure that the company outlines all practices and all personal data that we just explored and we just highlighted. So let's begin with the privacy policy analysis. I will make it a bit right. Okay. So let's begin with the analysis of privacy policy. As you remember, we opened it and we saw the link only in one place where we saw the contact form and the form to request a demo, right? And right here we see the privacy policy of the company, which is not placed on the website, but which is downloaded like on a separate document, PDF file, which is strange, but okay. I will scroll down just really quick to see the structure of the privacy policy, to understand about which points we will talk today. Okay, let's see. CCPA privacy rights, GDPR data protection rights. Okay, we see here GDPR, children's information, and that is all. Okay. So now we can start with the analysis of the privacy policy. The first issue which I paid attention to is that there is no clearly visible structure of this policy, and it's difficult to understand what types of information refer to, which content does it have, or for example, like which blocks of information can we see here and analyze, and it's really difficult to track the structure of this policy. But anyway, let's start with the beginning, and we see the introduction. So it's pretty general actually issue to start the policy with introduction. Usually it serves like a description about the company which presents these privacy policies, which operates the website we are talking about, and about the aim, the purpose of the privacy policy, about the data subject from which the company collects this personal data, and some general information. What we can see right here is that we don't have any mention of the company legal entity. So from the first point, I see that there is a mention of the website, right? The website that we just analyzed, but there are no information about the legal entity. So actually the company, which is their website owner or maybe a licensor, I don't know, and there is no information about it. We cannot understand from which jurisdiction the company is from. We cannot understand what like its legal address, and how do we need to realize this. So in usual, you need to just mention that you're the company and you are represented by this entity or another one. And why is it important? It is important because when we understand the jurisdiction of the company, the country of residence of the company, we can understand the scope of privacy laws which we'll need to apply. Because the company cannot be subject to all global laws of the world, right? So we need to clearly define the scope of these laws to which the company will be subject, and it will help us to understand what norms, what standards the company shall follow. But without this information, it's really difficult to guess where the company is from. So at this stage, we don't understand whether it's from the United States or it may be from the European Union, because we saw the section about GDPR, but we'll talk about it a bit later today. So this is like also a big privacy fail. Let's see what's next. Okay, you might see here that the company mentioned that they created this privacy policy with the help of the terms feed, free privacy policy generator, and I understand right now why this privacy policy is not so good. I would say not so good, but because I have not analyzed it until the end at this stage, but I'm not sure that it's really good enough. So the company used automatically generated services for the creation of this privacy policy, and it might be really a problem. I will not assess their accurateness of this service or any other service, because this is like not our task today, but I would not suggest my clients or any other companies, businesses to use any automatically generated services. Anyway, let's see what we have next and what our section next. We see here the consent section, and consent section is pretty clear and just one sentence stating that when users use this website, they should agree, so they consent to this privacy policy and agree to its terms. This is pretty good, but at the same time, the users cannot find your website privacy policy easily. They only need to press on some kind of button on some kind of website forms where you collect personal data and where they want to, if they want actually to contact you, right? And they cannot do it in an easily way. They cannot just scroll down and find it usually in a regular way. So there is no link to your privacy policy at all. This is the problem. Next section, and this section actually describes the scope of personal data the company collects. So the company collects through this website. As you remember, we analyzed and we saw that there is pretty extensive, I would say, scope of data collected for contact form, right? We saw this first name, last name, email address, phone numbers, and even job title of a person. And that was all. So let's see what the company states here. Okay, if you contact us directly, you can see here we may receive additional information such as name, email address, phone number, and the contents of the message and attachments, right? So we see here that the company mentions only name, but at the same time they collect also surnames or last names, but maybe they just refer like in a combined manner about the name. Anyway, they mention here the reason for the collection and like actually the way they collect this. When you contact them, right, they do not specify that you can contact them by phone or through the website form in any other way, but they just say that when you contact them, they collect these pieces of information. Okay, when you register for an account, they can ask for contact information, including items such as name, company name, address, email address, and telephone numbers. The same scope of personal data, we saw on this contact form, on book request demo form, but I actually haven't found any web pages where the company would propose to register an account. Maybe they do it in any other way. Maybe they have other platforms through which they offer their users, their clients to register and to have a registered account. But at the same time, they in the introduction, like in the intro part, they, as I remember, collecting 24, accessible from, right. They mention only this website, only the website that we are analyzing right now, and I haven't found any form, any registration form to create an account. So I'm not sure about this. Maybe this privacy policy was not updated, or maybe it's not accurate enough. It also can be. But anyway, just pay attention to this moment that we haven't found this blog. Okay, so what I haven't found here, there is no information about automatically collected data. So the blog actually contains information that the company collects, but they mention here only the information that voluntarily shares, so website visitors or clients share with the company when they contact through their website forms or in any other way. So the company in this section doesn't mention automatically collected data. And about this section, I will talk later today, and we'll also shall understand that we are talking about cookies and other tracking technologies when we talk about automatically collected data, but these data are for sure collected right here, because we saw even the cookie banner of the company, and we saw some social media links following us to the third party, right, and share in some forms where you can share the content from the company with other external platforms. So at this point we don't see this information, but maybe we will find it a bit later in other sections. So let's see what we have next. Next section, how we use information. And this is also a regular section. Usually it describes the purposes for use of the personal data, and you need your actual task, or the task of any website owner is to clearly define all purposes for which you will use your clients or your website visitors' personal data, right? So you need to clearly demonstrate the whole list of purposes for which you use this data. Let's check this. Okay, so first purpose, to provide and maintain the website, improve, personalize and expand the website, understand and analyze how you use the website, develop new products, communicate with you. We are talking about different communication forms or contact forms, send your emails, fund and prevent fraud. Okay, the pretty regular reasons for collecting and for processing personal data. I wouldn't say that here is something omitted or needs to be clarified. Actually, from the first point of view, from the information that I have analyzed, it's pretty clear and everything is embedded. Only one major issue that I would add here to make it a bit more clear and specific is to add the reason for collecting the data or processing the data, for providing the access to demo version of the platform or the product, because we saw different types of buttons, yes, with their preposition to request a demo. It means that one of the reasons why your website visitors might contact you and might share their data is that they want, for example, to try to use your services. Next section, log files. This is the issue about which I talked just several minutes ago, and these types of data, they refer to automatically collected. They are called in such way just because users do not need to actively share them with you. They do not provide their consent to this in the way where, for example, we speak about essential automatically collected data. And that's why this information cannot be included, for example, in the block of information where users voluntarily share this data or voluntarily provide you this data. And log files, actually, this is one of the types of data that are automatically collected by websites, by mobile apps, right? And you might see here the description of this information. IP addresses, browser type, internet service providers, date and timestamp, different type of automatically collected data. And the company also here outlines the purposes for use. This for analyzing trends, administering the site, tracking users' movement, and gathering demographic information. Sometimes when a company, for example, uses Google Analytics services or any other analytics service providers within their website, and they want to use the services to analyze the trends, to analyze their performance of their website or other web resources, all these types of information will be collected by the service providers. That's why you need to outline this information as well and need to always check whether you have mentioned all these types of information within your privacy policy. Let's see what we have next. Okay, the next section is advertising partners privacy policy. And let me check it really quickly. You may consult the list to find the privacy policy for each of the advertising partners of 24 TTL. Third party, to find the I don't know where is this list and where users can find this list, to review this list and to understand which advertising partners the company uses. There are no links at all, and I'm not sure whether this information is included. But anyway, the company just described that they actually use some advertising partners with whom they might share the data of users, and that these partners also places users' cookies, in this case will be third-party cookies, and they describe these practices within this section. They also claims that they have no access or control over these cookies that are used by third-party advertisers, but at the same time, this is the problem that the company made right here, is that they do not describe the way how users can opt out from these third-party cookies for marketing purposes, because actually in this case we speak about marketing purposes of advertising partners, right? And they, I believe that they actually use this data, these cookies and these tracking technologies for sure for marketing purposes of these companies. And the mission and one of the most important obligations of the company in this way is to provide the option to opt out from these practices and from the collection of these cookies. But they do not have this information right here. They do not provide any options, any rights to users at this stage. Maybe we'll find later the section about the privacy rights of users and the choices they have, but be sure that this is really important, and please remember to check this every time you use or you share the data with advertising partners. And right here we see third-party privacy policy. I want also to check one more information which refers to cookies, right? Because as you remember, we saw the cookie banner of the company, and we also see some types of information about the use of cookies by third-party advertisers, but at the same time, we do not see a separate section dedicated to the cookie, right? To the use of cookies. And that might be a problem because your users do not understand which types of cookies you use and for what purposes you do, right? There is a number and different types of cookies that you might place on website, on the service, right? From essential ones, which can be set, which can be collected without the consent of users or website visitors, to marketing cookies. When you need to provide the option for your users to opt out of them, but we don't have this information. We don't see any information about the use of cookies and about the purposes of their use, and actually about the choices that the users have with regard to managing their cookies preferences. And this is also a really big privacy fail. You need to understand also that there are different requirements regarding the cookies in different privacy regulations. So for example, in the GDPR, there will be really high requirements and really strict requirements with regard to the cookie use and to the form you need to get consent from your users. So there, for example, you need to provide granular consent and you need to obtain active consent to the use of all non-essential cookies, such as performance, analytics, and marketing, for example. At the same time, when we speak about Californian residents, Californian privacy law, the requirements are not so strict, and you can omit the option with getting consent to all these types of cookies, but you need to inform your users about their use and also need to provide the option to opt out, right? But you need to be aware of these differences and about these requirements. So this is another privacy fail of the company. They do not make clear about their cookies practices at all. What's next? We see here another section which is called third-party privacy policies. And the company states here that this privacy policy does not apply to other advertisers or websites. It means that you need for sure to check the privacy policy of other third parties from which you will find on this website and which you will follow. This is pretty normal and really regular practices, and all companies do this in this way, and this is really normal, right? When you want to follow other website links or any other links that you might find on the website, for sure you will be followed to other external website resource, and you will need to be sure that the website you are following is safe enough and that you are trust this website resource, and everything this is made at your own risk. So this is what is this section about. Here we see actually the description about their cookies use, that you can disable some cookies through individual browser options. All right, so they provide, I do not know why they put this in this section, but here is the description of how users can disable these cookies, and they can do this through the browser options. But at the same time, they also have the cookie banner, which should also be functional in this way, and it should also work in the way that you can manage the preferences. But the company doesn't mention anything from here. Actually, the cookie banner that we saw earlier today is not compliant, as you might see, because it doesn't contain all essential moments, and even it's not clearly visible when you browse the website. You cannot choose the buttons, right? Let's see the next section, and here we see section CCPA rights, privacy rights. Do not sell my personal information. As the company refers to this section, I suppose they collect California residents' data, personal data, and I'm actually not sure that the company is subject of this law, because a lot of companies, they misunderstand the concept of CCPA law, and a lot of them actually are exempt from the requirements of this law. They do not need to follow them, but they do this by mistakes. They try to collect, they try actually to put as much information in their privacy policy as possible. They just think, or sometimes they think by mistake that if they, for example, collect data from Californian residents, they by default need to follow the CCPA, but it's actually not the truth. We will not analyze the eligibility of the company at this stage. You can also find this special video which I recorded about Californian law, about actually CCPA law, in my list of videos. I will also put a link to this, and you can just browse it, understand how actually this works, and how you can analyze whether or not you need to comply with the CCPA specifically. But let's talk about the company right now. So they put here the information about CCPA and about the privacy rights the California consumers have, right? They mentioned Californian consumers and the right that they have. Okay, request the data. Actually, this the scope of personal data that CCPA guaranteed for Californians residents. And if the company is subject of it, for sure it shall guarantee these rights. And another section dedicated to GDPR data protection rights. And again, I do not know, I cannot analyze and I cannot assess the eligibility of the company with the GDPR, the need to actually comply with the GDPR, because I do not know the audience of the company and I couldn't understand this from the website forms. Only one maybe information which might help us understand the audience of the company will be their geography. This is the map that we saw earlier today. I will show you again, right? Or for example, right here, we saw different contact centers of the company, and what we here's Amsterdam, Indonesia, Mexico, South Korea, right? And United Arab Emirates. So if we see here Amsterdam, Netherlands, we suppose that the company might collect data of European residents as well. That's why they put here a section dedicated to GDPR data protection rights. So let's see what we have in this section. And here's the description of the rights that users, the European residents have, and we might see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rights. Actually, I do not see here the full list of rights. I don't remember the whole list for sure, but I know that there's 8 or 7 rights, and here's only 6. And I don't see here the right, for example, to lodge a complaint with the supervisory authority, but it's one of the rights that is also provided by the GDPR. When users want to complain about your privacy practices, they can do, one of the options they have is to contact a supervisory authority in their location, in the European, in any country of the European Union from which they are located or from which they are residents of, and they can complain about your practices. There is no this right, and we do not see any other information except for this, so only rights of European residents. But you shall understand that GDPR is pretty strict about its requirements and about its practices, and there is a big variety of requirements and of different information which you need to provide for your users, which you need to clarify at this point to make compliant, to be compliant with the GDPR practices. So here we see only the description of the rights of the users. At the same time, we don't see the description of the legal basis, for example, for the collection and processing of personal data. According to the GDPR, you need to specify the legal basis on which you rely when you collect and process personal data. There is no such information at all. I can also cannot find the information about, for example, international data transfer. This is actually very difficult to assess because I still cannot understand for which jurisdiction the company is, so where there's the official place of the company's registration. Because, for example, if the company is registered within the European Union and maybe they even store their data in the European Union in any, for example, in some cloud hosting providers or servers which are located in the European Union, and they do not have any third-party service providers with whom they share the data, for example, internationally, so outside the European Union. In this case, they do not need this. But in case they share this data internationally, they need also to notify their users, European residents, about these practices. So nothing about this at all. And yeah, so this is a pretty short version of the GDPR section of the GDPR rights. And for sure, it's not compliant because of the reason that I just mentioned, guys. What's next? We see. Okay, and here's we see another section, children's information. And let's check what the company states about this. We're using the internet. the company claims that they do not collect information from children under the age of 13. This information helps me to make some predictions that the company might be a US resident and it might be registered in one of the United States because of this age restrictions section. According to the Federal Children Privacy Regulation, there is actually the age restrictions the company needs to follow in order to be exempt from the need to follow and to be subject of this privacy law of the United States. That's why the company places right to this age threshold, right? 13. That's why I might guess that the company is from the United States. But anyway, it's really a big problem that they do not make it clear for users. And that is all. Yeah, you might see that there are no other information in this privacy policy, and actually a lot of sections are omitted. And now I will stop just for a while to clarify which sections the company just omitted and just didn't describe in any way. Let's see what we have here. Here we saw the sections about the scope of personal data collected, right? So actually all the personal data that the company collects, it was described in this section. Then we saw the description of the purposes for the collection and for the processing, it was in this section. And here we saw like a short description of automatically collected data. However, they were not called in such way. We haven't found information, as you remember, about using the cookies and about the purposes of their use, right? And about the types of these cookies. What's more, guys, I also haven't found information about sharing and disclosure practices of the company. But at the same time, if we come back to the website, we might see here that there is some type of third-party service providers which the company uses in its business operations. I will not state on them right here. I will not analyze this list and their purposes, but for sure you might understand that the company have not disclosed the information about the parties with whom they share users and website visitors' data. There are always categorization, and usually website owners provide a list of these parties with whom they share their data, of their users, but the company didn't do this. So at this stage, it didn't make clear for users how they disclose and with whom they share users' data. This is another privacy fail. What else? I haven't found information about the storage practices of the company. What I mean by this is that according to most privacy regulations, most privacy laws of the world, you need to clearly define the retention period during which you will store users' data. Users need to understand for how long you will store and process their data. And in this case, the company also haven't provided this information, so it remained unclarified. This is another privacy fail for the company and also required fixing. And what next? I haven't also found information about the security practices of the company. By security practices, I mean the use of different technologies, of different administrative and organizational measures which companies take to protect the data of users, of their customers, which they collect from this website. It's not clear, your users will not understand, you do not make it clear and visible, right? So it doesn't help your users trust your privacy practices. And again, in terms of GDPR practices, for example, this is also a big problem because this is one of the requirements which you'll need to clearly state within the privacy policy as well. What else? I cannot analyze here or there, as you remember, the use of CCPA and the need to comply with the CCPA. But if the company actually collects personal data of Californian residents, they'll need to check their applicability with another state laws, with the state laws of Californian state, because the law that mentioned right here, CCPA, it was the last one adopted in the California state, but there are also other one, and they also need to ensure that they comply with these laws as well. For example, if we speak about the first adopted Californian law, California Online Privacy Act, it requires the company, for example, to disclose information about the use of do not track signals on the website, and also some types of privacy rights which California residents have. As to the GDPR data protection rights and these sections for European residents, I have already clarified and make it clear for you which sections, which actual information is omitted. So it's not follow the GDPR standards at all. And another important section which was omitted here is contact information and the way how your users can contact you with regard to the privacy practices, right? You may see here that neither the introductory part nor the last part of the privacy policy, it doesn't provide any information about the way or maybe the number of ways that users, website visitors can contact you about their privacy rights or about their privacy practices, and it's not clear at all how you can communicate with them, right? This is also a big problem because you need to provide this information. You need to provide this information with regard to Californian residents, with regard to European residents, and again, just for users globally, right? There's one of the main requirements. And the last but not the least issue, which I haven't found here, is the information about the last date where this policy actually was updated, or when it first was prepared. Maybe it wasn't updated, but it should be clearly stated when you prepared this privacy policy, or when you last made some changes, some amendments to this. This is actually also one of the requirements of the California Online Privacy Act, for example. I understand that the company just used some kind of services for automatically creation of privacy policy, but it doesn't release them from the liability to follow all standards required by the privacy law regulations. So guys, this actually the end of this privacy policy, and we have clarified all moments which require attention, and I would say this is one of the privacy policies which require a lot of attention. I guess that sometimes it's even better to prepare it from the scratch, right? To make it clear, to make it well structured. This is the way that I would suggest doing it in this way, right? To make it from the beginning, from the scratch. I hope that it was helpful for you today to analyze this privacy policy with me today and to analyze the website practices and compare all these issues. And for sure, my main task and my main purpose of these videos is not to see the same problems, the same mistakes in other websites, on other businesses. So I hope that you will not make the same mistakes in your website or in your business practices. So thank you guys for staying with me today. Please be sure to subscribe to my channel to stay updated with new videos, with new website reviews. And I'm sure that you have some questions which maybe stayed unclear or unclarified for you. So please leave your comments below in this video. And please like this video and share this with your friends or any other person for whom it might be of interest. So thank you for your time today and see you in the next video, guys. Bye.